Every morning for 5 months, I woke up unable to keep food down. I lost 35 lbs. My hair fell out in clumps. 3 different doctors ran every test imaginable and found nothing wrong. Then one afternoon, a stranger in an antique shop looked at the watch my son gave me, and his face went pale. He opened the back with trembling hands. When he saw what was inside, he grabbed my wrist. "Take this off, right now." I stared at the tiny capsule hidden in the casing. My son gave me this for my 60th birthday. His hands were shaking. "Then let me show you what your son has done. I'm so grateful you're watching." Before we go further, tell me in the comments what made you click on this video. I'm genuinely curious where you joined us. Your comment helps this story reach elderly relatives who need this warning. Important disclaimer: this account includes fictional elements crafted for storytelling and educational value. Any similarity to real individuals or locations is unintentional, though the message itself remains critically important. Looking back now, I should have known something was wrong that night, but hindsight is always clearer than the moment. It was my 60th birthday, 2 years after Margaret died. I hadn't wanted to celebrate, but Melissa insisted. "Mom would want this, Dad," she'd said, and she was right. So there I was, in my living room on a spring evening, with a handful of people who cared, my daughter, a few neighbors, old Jim from my bowling league. Trevor arrived around 7. I was surprised to see him. My son had been scarce for the past 6 months, always too busy with real estate deals to visit. But there he was, that charming smile on his face, holding a small wrapped box. "Happy birthday, Dad." He hugged me tight. Melissa appeared from the kitchen, her eyes flicking to the gift in Trevor's hands. Something passed across her face, surprise, maybe suspicion. It was gone before I could be sure. Trevor handed me the box. "I got you something." Inside, nestled in black velvet, was a watch. Not just any watch. This was the kind you see in jewelry store windows and walk past, because who has that kind of money? Silver case, leather band, elegant face with Roman numerals. Beautiful. "Trevor, this is—" I couldn't finish. He took it from the box, held it up to the light. "Dad, you taught me that time is the most valuable thing we have. Every second with the people we love matters." His voice wavered. "I want you to remember, every time you look at this, how proud I am to be your son." My throat tightened. This was the thoughtful boy I remembered, not the distant stranger of recent months. "Thank you, son," I pulled him into a hug. "This is beautiful. Put it on." He fastened the leather band around my left wrist. The watch settled there, cool and solid, perfect. "It suits you." I held up my wrist, admiring it. "I don't know what to say. Just promise me something." Trevor's hand rested on my wrist, fingers touching the watch. "Promise you'll wear it every day. Don't take it off. I want you to think of me every time you see it." It seemed an odd request, almost childlike, but I understood. Grief makes us need connection in strange ways. "I promise," I said easily. "I'll wear it every day." Trevor's whole face relaxed, like I'd handed him something precious. "Thanks, Dad." Melissa had been quiet through all of this, arms crossed. "It's a beautiful watch," she said carefully. "Very generous. Dad deserves it." Trevor's smile stayed fixed. "Doesn't he?" "Of course." The party moved forward. We ate cake, told stories, laughed. But I noticed Trevor's eyes kept drifting to my wrist, checking, making sure the watch was still there. By 10 p.m., everyone had left except my kids. Trevor was gathering his coat when he paused at the door. "You're wearing it, right? The watch?" I held up my wrist. "Haven't taken it off." "Good. Don't." "Okay, just keep it on for me." "I will," I promised. He smiled, relieved. "You're the best, Dad. I love you." After they both left, I stood alone in my quiet living room, looking at the watch catching the lamplight. Trevor had always been thoughtful. This was just him showing love. I promised him I'd never take it off. It was the easiest promise I'd ever made. Back then, I thought it was just a gift from a loving son. I didn't know what was really hidden inside that beautiful silver casing. The party ended late that night. Trevor helped me clean up before leaving, and I remember feeling grateful to have such a thoughtful son. 1 week later, everything changed. I woke up and barely reached the bathroom before getting sick. At first, I assumed it was something I ate. Maybe the potato salad had turned, or I'd caught a stomach bug. That happens when you're 60. Your body doesn't bounce back the way it once did. I took antacids, sipped a ginger ale, and told myself it would pass. It didn't. By the second week, I woke up nauseous every single morning. Not mild nausea, but the deep rolling kind that brings cold sweat. I couldn't keep breakfast down. Toast made me gag. Even coffee, my habit for 40 years, suddenly tasted wrong. I skipped morning meals, drinking water until the feeling eased around noon. That's when Trevor started calling. "Hey, Dad, just checking in. How are you feeling?" His voice sounded warm and concerned. He called every other day, then every day, sometimes twice. "I'm okay," I'd say, "just a little under the weather." "What symptoms? Nausea? Fatigue? Anything else?" At the time, it felt caring, a son worried about his aging father. Looking back, I see how specific those questions were, how detailed, as if he were tracking something. And always, he asked, "You're still wearing the watch, right?" "Of course," I'd reply, glancing at my wrist. I'd grown used to its weight. "I haven't taken it off," I promised. "Good. That's good, Dad." By week 3, I'd lost 8 lbs. I noticed when my belt needed another notch. Melissa came over that Sunday for lunch, or tried to. I barely touched the sandwich she made. "Dad, you look awful," she said, covering my hand with hers. "When did you last eat properly?" "I'm just not hungry." "This isn't normal," she said, fear edging her voice. "You need to see Dr. Porter. It's probably a bug. For 3 weeks, please. I promise to call Monday." That afternoon, Trevor stopped by with groceries, chicken soup, crackers, ginger ale. "Thought you might need these," he said, unpacking my kitchen. I was touched. The son, absent for half a year, was bringing soup. "Thanks, Trev. That means a lot." He smiled, then looked at my wrist. "You're wearing the watch all the time." "Yeah, even in the shower, I'm careful. Yesterday I splashed it washing dishes, but I dried it right away." His body went rigid. "Dad, you have to be careful." "I know. It's fine." "No," he snapped. "That watch isn't fully waterproof. You could damage it. Please be careful." The intensity surprised me. I assumed he was protective of an expensive gift. "I will. I promise." By week 4, I couldn't ignore it. I stepped on the scale and stared. 158 lb. I'd been 175 at my party, 17 lbs gone in a month. In the mirror, my face looked hollow, eyes sunken, shirt hanging loose. This wasn't a bug. It was something serious. I called Melissa. "You were right. I need Dr. Porter." "Thank God. I'll schedule. I can do it today." "Promise." I called. Dr. Porter could see me Thursday morning. When I told Trevor, his answer came fast. "I'll take you. You don't have to. I want to. I'm worried. I want to hear what he says." It sounded natural. How could I know? He drove me. Watching the watch, wanting the examination room, Trevor picked me up early that morning for my appointment with Dr. Porter. He'd insisted on coming along, and I was grateful. I'd been feeling too weak to drive myself. Dr. Porter ran every test he could think of: blood work, urine analysis, even an ultrasound. 4 weeks of constant nausea had worn me down. Dr. Porter had been my doctor for 15 years. The moment I walked into his examination room, his face went serious. "Lawrence, you've lost significant weight." He helped me onto the table, checked my vitals, examined my eyes and throat. I'd estimate 15 to 20 lbs. When did this start? About a month ago, right after my birthday. We need comprehensive tests. He made notes. Blood panel, urinalysis, abdominal ultrasound. I want to rule out everything. Trevor had stayed in the waiting room during my examination, but he joined us when Dr. Porter explained the tests. What are you looking for specifically? Trevor asked, leaning forward. Liver function, kidney function, infections, digestive issues? Dr. Porter glanced at me. We'll be thorough. Thank you, doctor. Trevor's hand rested on my shoulder. We just want to know what's wrong. The tests took most of the morning. Through it all, I felt Trevor's presence in the waiting room, being the good son. A week later, Dr. Porter called me back for results. Trevor drove me again. Mr. Bennett, I have to admit, I am puzzled. Dr. Porter spread the lab reports across his desk. Everything came back normal. Blood count, liver enzymes, kidney function, all within normal ranges. The ultrasound showed no abnormalities. I stared at him. But I'm losing weight. I can barely eat. Something is wrong. I know. I can see that. He tapped his pen. I'm referring you to a gastroenterologist. Dr. Rodriguez is excellent. Maybe it's something these tests aren't catching. The test came back clean. That should have been good news. Instead, it just deepened the mystery. In Trevor's car on the way home, I sat quietly staring out the window. How could everything be normal when I felt this terrible? Don't worry, Dad. We'll figure it out. Trevor glanced over. The nausea. Is it worse in the morning or evening? Morning mostly, every day, even when you don't eat much. Yeah, every single morning. The questions felt caring, but there were so many of them, so specific. That evening, Melissa called. How did the appointment go? All the tests came back normal. Normal, Dad? You've lost 20 pounds. How can everything be normal? I don't know. He referred me to a gastroenterologist. There was a pause. Dad, I need to ask you something. Doesn't it seem weird that Trevor is suddenly so involved? He barely visited twice in the 6 months before your birthday. Now he's at every appointment, calling every day. I felt defensive immediately. Melissa, he's worried about me. He's being a good son. I know, but the timing? Your brothers try. Can't you just be happy he's here? She went quiet. You're right, I'm sorry. After we hung up, I sat alone in my living room. The house was quiet, except for the ticking of the grandfather clock. I looked down at the watch on my wrist, catching the lamplight. But Melissa's words stuck with me as I lay in bed that night, staring at the ceiling. Trevor hadn't visited more than twice in the 6 months before my birthday. He'd been distant, always busy with work, so why was he suddenly acting like son of the year? The questions Melissa planted that night kept me awake until morning, but dawn came anyway, carrying a harsher kind of clarity. I caught my reflection in the bathroom mirror and barely recognized the man staring back. My face looked hollow, almost skeletal. The dark circles under my eyes had deepened into bruises, and my hair had thinned so badly that pale patches of scalp showed through where thick silver once was. 25 labias. I had lost 25 lbs in just 3 months. Mrs. Henderson from next door noticed too. I was checking the mail when she walked over, her friendly smile fading as she got closer. Lawrence, honey, are you feeling all right? You look... She stopped herself, but I knew what she meant. I looked sick, really sick. Just under the weather, I told her. The doctors are working on it. She squeezed my arm before heading back inside, concern lingering in her eyes. That afternoon, Melissa stopped by. The moment she saw me, her face drained of color. Dad, she whispered. Oh my God, Dad. I'm okay, I tried to say, but she was already beside me, hands on my face, as if she needed proof I was real. You're not okay. Look at you, your hair. She touched my head gently, tears forming. Why didn't you tell me it was this bad? Before I could answer, Trevor's voice came from the kitchen. Hey, Dad, I brought groceries. Got that soup you like? Melissa turned toward the sound, and I followed. Trevor was unpacking bags, moving through my kitchen like it belonged to him. Organic broths, plain crackers, ginger ale, the perfect image of a devoted son. Trevor, Melissa said tightly, can I talk to you? He looked up, concerned, carefully arranged on his face. Of course. Is everything okay? No, nothing's okay. She stepped closer. Dad's losing his hair. He's down to what, Dad? 155. You've been here almost every day for weeks. How are you not panicking? I am panicking, Trevor replied calmly. That's why I'm here. Someone has to take care of him. You weren't here 6 months ago. I'm here now, Melissa. Isn't that what matters? Is it? Her hands shook. Because it's strange. You barely called Dad for half a year, and suddenly you're meal prepping and playing nurse. Trevor's jaw tightened. Are you really doing this right now? Dad's sick, and you're making this about me? I'm making it about the fact that something is wrong. Yeah, Dad's sick. That's what's wrong. He turned to me. Dad, can you talk to her? She's acting paranoid. I should have listened. I should have heard the fear in my daughter's voice and asked better questions. Instead, I said, Melissa, honey, your brother's just trying to help. The hurt on her face struck me harder than any symptom. She grabbed her purse and left without another word. Trevor sighed. I'm worried about her, Dad. That wasn't normal. She's just scared, I said, maybe. His eyes flicked to my wrist. You're still wearing the watch. Good. I'd hate for anything to happen to it. A few days later, I was washing dishes when water splashed over the watch. Trevor, who had stopped by unannounced, grabbed my wrist so hard that I gasped. Did water get inside? His voice was sharp, almost panicked. It's just a watch, Trevor. It's not just a watch, it's... He stopped himself. It's expensive, and it means something. Please be careful. That night alone in the dark, Melissa's words returned to me. I realized something terrible. I had chosen to believe my son over my daughter, and that choice might be the biggest mistake of my life. The next few weeks blurred into a fog of medical appointments and worsening symptoms. By the 4th month, I had lost 30 lbs. I could barely reach the mailbox without needing to sit down. Melissa stopped voicing her suspicions, though I would later learn she never stopped watching. The doctors were running out of ideas, and I was running out of time. Dr. Helen Rodriguez, the gastroenterologist, performed an endoscopy. I remember the bitter sedative and the tube sliding down my throat. When I woke, she wore the same puzzled look I had seen before. Mr. Bennett, your digestive tract is completely normal. No ulcers, no inflammation, nothing to explain your symptoms. Then why can't I keep food down? I asked. She had no answer. Next came the neurologist, Dr. Nathan Cross. The headaches had grown so severe that light felt unbearable. He ordered an MRI, ran balance tests, and checked my reflexes. Everything is normal, he said. No tumors, no lesions, no neurological disorders. I wanted to scream, how could everything be normal when I felt like I was dying? The oncologist was my final hope. Cancer had to be the answer. Nothing else explained the weight loss, exhaustion, and the way my body was giving up. There were scans, blood work, and more waiting. Mr. Bennett, there is no evidence of cancer anywhere in your body. That was when one of them, I can't remember which, suggested stress, psychological trauma, my wife's death. I'm not imagining this, I said. I've lost 35 lbs, my hair is falling out. This isn't in my head, but I saw it in their eyes. They thought grief was making me sick. Trevor came by that evening and found me sitting in the dark. How did it go, Dad? They think I'm crazy, I said. They think I'm doing this to myself. He sat across from me, and something in his expression unsettled me. Was it disappointment, Dad? Maybe, he hesitated, maybe it's just aging. Maybe there really isn't anything wrong. Trevor, I'm wasting away. I know, he said, but his voice was flat, like he was done pretending to care. The thought crossed my mind and vanished, another paranoid idea influenced by Melissa, one I tried desperately to ignore. That night was the worst yet. Vomiting, headaches so violent, I thought my skull would split. At 3 a.m. in the morning, I made a decision. I needed air. I needed to leave this house that felt like a tomb. The next morning, I drove downtown, parked on a side street I didn't recognize, and started walking, with no destination, just needing to move. I wandered onto a quiet block of small shops, antiques, a used bookstore, a cafe with empty tables. Then I saw a narrow storefront with a window full of old watches and clocks, their faces catching the sunlight. I caught my reflection in the glass and barely recognized myself. Hollow cheeks, sunken eyes, skin the color of old newspaper. Then I looked past my reflection into the shop. Something pulled me toward that door. Maybe it was the watches reminding me of the one on my wrist. Maybe it was chance. Or maybe, as I've come to believe, it was something more, guiding me exactly where I needed to be. I pushed the door open, unaware that this single step would change everything that followed, and unravel the truth I feared most. A soft bell chimed above my head. The shop smelled like old wood, metal, polish, and history. Hundreds of timepieces lined the walls, their gentle ticking creating a strange kind of peace. I was so weak I had to grip a display case just to stay upright. Good afternoon, welcome, feel free to look around. An elderly man emerged from the back, mid-60s, silver hair, kind eyes that didn't miss much. I nodded, moving slowly toward a case of vintage pocket watches. I've always appreciated fine timepieces. He came closer, genuinely interested. You have good taste. That's a beautiful watch you're wearing. May I ask where you got it? My son gave it to me for my 60th birthday, 5 months ago. Something shifted in his expression. 5 months, he paused. Forgive me if I'm being forward, sir, but have you been feeling unwell recently? I stared at him. How did you know? His voice was gentle. I've been doing this for 42 years. I notice things. Your eyes have a yellow tint, your skin's very pale, you're trembling, and that watch. He stopped. May I examine it just for a moment? I hesitated, the first time I'd actually considered taking it off, then agreed, unclasping it. My wrist felt naked without it. He examined it with a jeweler's loop, weighted in his palm. The weight's not right for a piece this size. He carried it to his workbench in the back, used a small specialized tool, carefully opened the case back, and there it was, a hidden compartment, a tiny sealed glass capsule containing clear liquid. His face went grave. He looked at me with something like fear. Sir, I need you to listen to me very carefully. He pointed to the capsule. This compartment was custom crafted. It's designed for slow release. Microscopic perforations allow vapor to escape gradually when warmed by body heat. He met my eyes. In 42 years, I've only seen this kind of modification a few times, never for good purposes. The room spun. What are you saying? I believe you've been exposed to something harmful, a toxic substance, through this watch. I gripped the edge of his workbench. That's not possible. How long have you been sick? 5 months, since I started wearing it. And the symptoms, nausea, weight loss, 35 LEBs, hair falling out. The doctors can't find anything wrong, because they're not testing for this. His voice was firm, but kind. This wasn't an accident. Someone modified this watch specifically to harm you. Trevor's face flashed through my mind. Never take it off, Dad. Promise me. The panic when water splashed on it, the daily calls. You're still wearing it, right? His disappointment when doctors found nothing. Melissa's voice months ago. Something's not right here. My son, I whispered. My own son gave me this. Franklin Pierce, I'd learn his name later, looked at me with such compassion it broke something inside me. I'm so sorry, but you need to understand. If you keep wearing this, you won't survive much longer. I stared at the opened watch on his bench, the beautiful silver casing, the hidden chamber, the weapon my son had placed on my wrist with a smile, and a speech about time being precious. Franklin's hand steadied me as my knees started to buckle. Don't put that watch back on, he said firmly, and don't go home. You need to go straight to the police station right now. Before I reveal what my son's real motive was, I need to know you're still here. Just comment here below. One word, that's all. It lets me know this story is reaching people who need this warning. Quick note, while some details ahead are fictionalized for impact, the danger is real. You can stop watching anytime. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely grip the counter. Franklin guided me to a chair in the back workshop. Sit down before you collapse, he said gently. He brought me water, but I couldn't drink it. There has to be another explanation, I said. Trevor wouldn't. He couldn't. Franklin pulled up a stool, sitting at eye level. His voice was kind but firm. When exactly did your symptoms start? About a week after my birthday, after he gave me the watch. And he insisted you wear it constantly. I remembered. He made me promise I'd never take it off. He checked every time he saw me. My voice broke. Franklin waited, then said carefully, Mr. Bennett, I need to ask some difficult questions. Do you have significant assets, life insurance? The question hit like ice water. Yes, I have a life insurance policy, about $1.5 million, and I'm leaving my lakefront property to my kids. It's worth over $2 million. Does your son have financial troubles? Trevor's face flashed through my mind, his vague comments about tough times at work, his questions about when I planned to sell the lakefront place, what it was worth, the tension around money I'd blamed on the economy. I don't know, I said. He never said it directly. But when was the insurance policy last updated? I haven't looked at it in years. Mr. Bennett, modifications like this are expensive, Franklin said. Custom work, illegal work, that means planning, desperation. The room tilted. Oh, God. He planned this for months, my own son. Franklin's hand rested steadily on my shoulder. I know this is devastating, but you need to act now. Every day you wore that watch, more of that substance entered your system. You need medical attention and protection. He wrote down his contact information. I'll testify about what I found. I'll help however I can. But right now, we need to get you somewhere safe. I can't go home, I said. If he knows I figured it out, I'll drive you to the police station myself. Something broke inside me then, not just what Trevor had done, but what it meant. The birthday speech about time being precious, the phone calls pretending to care, the visits with soup and concern, all of it had been a performance, all of it monitoring whether I was dying fast enough. I raised him, I whispered. I taught him right from wrong. I gave him everything. How could my son do this? Franklin's eyes were wet. I don't have that answer. I'm so sorry. He closed the shop and led me to his car. As we drove toward the police station, I checked my phone. 3 missed calls from Trevor. I stared at his name. The photo from last 4th of July. His arm around my shoulders. Both of us smiling, knowing I could never see him the same way again. Franklin drove me straight to the police station. My hands were still shaking as I walked through those doors. The desk officer took one look at me, pale, trembling, barely standing, and called for a detective immediately. Detective Sandra Mitchell met me in an interview room 10 minutes later. She listened to my entire story without interrupting. Then she said 5 words, "We believe you, Mr. Bennett." After 5 months of doctors not believing something was wrong, those 5 words almost made me cry. She handled the watch like evidence, which it was, and called forensics. I'm treating this as attempted harm. We need this analyzed tonight. Mr. Bennett, we're taking you to the hospital. We need blood samples, hair samples, proof of what you've been exposed to. What about my son? If he finds out, don't contact him. We'll handle this carefully. Where can you stay that's safe? My daughter, Melissa. Mitchell called Melissa, explained the situation. I heard my daughter's voice crack through the phone. I knew something was wrong. I knew. At the hospital, they drew blood, clipped hair samples. The doctor was shocked at my condition, started IV fluids immediately. That evening, at Melissa's apartment, Trevor called. My hand shook seeing his name. Mitchell coached me. Act normal. Tell him you're at the hospital for monitoring. I answered, my voice weak, not hard to fake. Trevor, Dad, where are you? I've been calling. Are you okay? I'm at the hospital. More tests. They want to keep me overnight. Suspicion crept into his voice. Which hospital? I'll come right now. No visitors allowed. Regulations. I'll call you tomorrow. Dad, wait. You're still wearing the watch, right? You didn't take it off. I looked at the watch and the evidence bag across the room. Of course. I promised you. 48 hours later, the lab results came back. Thallium in the capsule, in my hair shaft, showing 5 months of accumulation, building in my system, increasing over time. The doctor's words, 2 more months, and your organs would have failed. The financial investigation revealed everything. Trevor's debts, $1.2 million from cryptocurrency collapse and high-interest loans. A forged signature on my insurance policy, increased from $1.5 million to $4 million, 8 months ago. They arrested Trevor at his apartment that evening. 3 months later, I sat in a courtroom. Trevor had initially pleaded not guilty, but the evidence was overwhelming. His attorney negotiated a plea deal. I testified, described Trevor's behavior, the watch, the symptoms, the insistence that I never remove it. Trevor's eyes met mine across the courtroom. His face showed nothing, no remorse, no apology. The judge's voice was firm at sentencing. Mr. Bennett, you betrayed the most sacred bond in human society, that between father and son. You calculated your father's death for financial gain. This court sentences you to 25 years in prison, with no possibility of parole for the first 15. Trevor was led away in handcuffs. He didn't look back at me, not once. I don't know if that made it easier or harder. Part of me wanted him to turn around, to show some remorse, to give me something that explained all of this. But he just walked away. And maybe that was his final answer. That was a year ago. The trial, the sentencing, watching Trevor being led away, all of it feels like another lifetime now. Today, I'm standing in my kitchen, making breakfast without feeling nauseous for the first time in what feels like forever. The watch sits in a police evidence locker somewhere. I hope I never have to see it again. My physical recovery took months of chelation therapy to eliminate the thallium from my system. I gained my weight back, a healthy 170 lb. My hair grew back, my energy returned. The doctors called it a medical miracle. They told me if Franklin had spotted that watch 2 weeks later, the liver damage would have been permanent. 2 weeks. That's how close I came. Physical recovery came faster than emotional healing. I still see a therapist twice a month. I'm learning to process what it means when your own child calculates your death for financial gain. I'll probably never fully understand why Trevor did it. Maybe he doesn't either. Desperation makes people do terrible things, but I refuse to let his choices define the rest of my life. My daughter saved my life by trusting her instincts when I wouldn't listen. Melissa and I have dinner together twice a week now. I don't take that time for granted anymore. Franklin Pierce and I became close friends. We meet for coffee once a month. He now speaks at jeweler conferences about identifying tampered items, teaching other dealers to watch for modifications that could harm people. He calls it his mission. I call him my guardian angel. I kept Margaret's lakefront property, the one Trevor wanted me to sell so he could inherit early. Instead, Melissa and I go there on weekends. We're creating new memories, good ones that honor Margaret, without being haunted by Trevor's greed. I won't let his actions tarnish what my wife loved. I found a new purpose, too. I speak at senior community centers now about elder abuse and financial exploitation. It's more common than people think, and it doesn't always look like violence. Sometimes it looks like a loving son giving his father a watch. Here are the warning signs I share. Sudden attention from strange family members, especially when you have significant assets. Pressure to make quick financial decisions without time to think or consult others. Gifts that seem overly generous or come with strings attached. Insistence that you use or wear something constantly with unusual concern when you don't. Family members who isolate you from other relatives, or friends who might notice something's wrong. I don't know if I'll ever trust as easily as I did before, but I'm learning that healthy caution isn't paranoia, and I'm still capable of forming new friendships. Franklin proved that. If you're reading this, or someone you love is reading this, I want you to remember something. Pay attention to your instincts. If something feels wrong, investigate, ask questions, seek help from someone outside the situation. Don't dismiss your concerns just because someone says you're being paranoid. Melissa was called paranoid, she was right. And if someone, anyone, insists you never remove a gift they gave you, ask yourself why. What are they afraid you might discover? My son tried to harm me for money. He calculated that I'd be gone within months, leaving him $6.5 million richer. But he failed, and I'm here, healthy and determined, making sure others recognize the warning signs before it's too late. The watch that was supposed to end my life became the evidence that saved it. That's the irony. Trevor never anticipated evil, often contains the seeds of its own exposure. I wake up every morning grateful for three things: a daughter who wouldn't stop questioning, a stranger who knew watches well enough to spot danger, and a second chance to make my remaining years count for something. Your life might depend on paying attention to those small warning signs. If this story gives you pause, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Talk to your elderly parents or grandparents, check in on them regularly, ask questions, notice changes in behavior or sudden new relationships. Trust your instincts. They might just save a life. Looking back at my story, I see how blind trust nearly cost me everything. I trusted my son without question, dismissed my daughter's concerns, and ignored every warning sign God placed in my path. Don't be like me. God gave us instincts for a reason. When something feels wrong, that's often divine intervention, trying to protect you. I ignored those whispers until God sent Franklin Pierce, a stranger who became my guardian angel, to save my life when I couldn't save myself. The lesson I learned: trust but verify, love your family, but stay alert. And most importantly, listen when God speaks through the people who truly care about you, like my daughter Melissa, who saw the truth when I refused to. These grandpa stories aren't just entertainment, they're warnings based on real dangers that elderly people face every day. Share these grandpa stories with your parents, your grandparents, anyone who needs to hear them, because awareness can prevent tragedy. And here's my advice. If someone insists you never question their gifts, their motives, or their sudden attention, question everything. Your life might depend on it. If this story resonated with you, please leave a comment below sharing your thoughts. Subscribe to this channel so you never miss Grandpa's stories that could protect you or someone you love, and hit that share button. You might just save a life. Thank you for staying with me until the end. I know it wasn't easy. A gentle reminder, the stories ahead contain fictionalized elements created for educational purposes. If you prefer different content, please feel free to explore other options that suit you.